All right, hello. Trump Super Bowl 213. How is the 213 encoded from what we just saw at the Super Bowl and the connections with Donald Trump? And I showed you some interesting connections with this logo of the NFL and Donald Trump. We're going to go through some of that again. Just to recap, though, where we were at, hang on a minute, just to recap where we were at before, let's just look at the three things together, which is the dollar bill, which is important because that ties back with Madonna and Donald Trump. We've got the Hoover Dam over here. If you recall, in the previous video, I was showing you that this symbolism here, matches up with the idea of the Hoover Dam. Notice the blue with the white ring around it here on the shield of the NFL. Notice what we have here with Lake Mead, okay, blue with a white ring. They call it the bathtub or the bathtub ring. And what we also have is a smaller dam here, so to speak, okay, which is like this portion of the Hoover Dam here, okay. Okay, the face of the actual face of the dam, and you could write NFL on there, okay. And we had some numbers in here, and so this is really what we're going to be looking at, is the numbers, because we've got 4 stars here and 4 stars here, so we have 44 encoded in here, not to mention some other numbers, 85, and just the number 5, and probably just the number 8 as well. But so we got those connections, right? Well, what was interesting about the shield was, again, N and F, 14/6, okay. This gives us Donald Trump's birthday, and the L is 12, and if we take the 12 numerology as well and stick a 0 on it, 120 is when Donald Trump was resurrected back as the president, okay? Back into the White House, this is the White House right here, okay? Kind of. It's the same symbolism, okay? Now, the other thing I showed you was all the connections with the dollar bill to the Super Bowl. We had the Chiefs here, with their logo, which is the upward arrow. That could also be the pyramid. The all-seeing eye at the top of that is part of the Stargate. And then over here we've got another Stargate. Don't forget this is a Stargate over here as well. Okay, it's a Vesica Pisces with the stars. And this side of the dollar bill, we've got this seal with the eagle on it, okay, the spread eagle, okay, and the little eagle head here. And it's got, yet again, more shield symbolism here, okay, and this becomes this is the dam again, okay, and the wings spread out like this is like the womb, okay, and these two things will come together if you fold the dollar bill here and here, straight up and down here, straight up and down here. You can bring these two sides together and form a combined Stargate, okay? I know that's probably going over the heads of some people that haven't seen my previous videos, but we need to start somewhere, and I wanted to go back over this stuff, okay? So what we're going to do is concern ourselves just with the shield now, okay? One other thing to remember with this as well is that on the other side of this dollar bill, and we'll go to it, is the owl fold, okay? So the superb owl, the Super Bowl, has this owl fold on the other side of the dollar bill. I know I'm repeating myself on a lot of this stuff. Actually, let's drop back now to this, okay? And so we're just going to focus on what's here, okay? So we know that these two here are giving us Donald Trump's birthday, okay? Oh, if I could write it right. Okay, so that's giving us Donald Trump's birthday, and this is giving us the inauguration date, okay? The numerology of 1/2/12 is giving us the inauguration date. Okay, so how does this link to 213? Okay, well, as I just said, we've got this 4. Let's do a different color here, that'll pop a little bit better. We've got the 4 here, and the 4 stars here, okay? The 44th day of the year, okay, with 321 days left, the final countdown, 3, 2, 1, is the 13th of February. Now, what is interesting about this date as well is that the twin date for this date on the other side of the calendar year is 11/17. Okay. Now, what's so significant about this date? This date is the mid date in the 2 Pluto cycles. Yeah, if you do the orbital cycles of Pluto, okay, you can come up with 2 different cycles, right? One's 247 years, the other's 248 years, if I recall correctly. One of those cycles comes out on Donald Trump's birthday last year, and the other cycle, funnily enough, comes out on 4/21, which is the Queen's birthday. I can't remember, though. I think it was the year, I don't know if it's this year or whether it was last year. I can't remember. But anyway, to cut a long story short, the midpoint between this and this is this. Okay? So this becomes a very important day with the idea of Pluto. And don't forget, Mickey Mouse's birthday is on. Let's write it at least the same as the other above, Dan. Come on, is the 18th of November. So okay, so you see all this stuff, right? This is dead important, right? Because we've got this day coming up very shortly. In fact, 3 days' time, we're going to be on this date. Now, let me show you something though. Let me show you something with the dollar bill very quickly. Okay, so let's go to the dollar bill. Okay, so on the other side of the dollar bill, we had the eagles, we had the arrowhead. You can see this a little bit better here. Here's the shield that they're using at the NFL logo as well, and the dam is the shield. So we've got this side of the dollar bill with the colors of the eagles, and the other side of the dollar bill, the colors of the eagles. Yeah, that sort of dull dark green and black. So the Eagles win the number 1 share of Hertz, okay, because this is the $1 bill. And what we have on here is, I'll just talk you through this fold. This little guy here, you will know where my cursor is the little owl. Supposedly, I don't know, you could enlarge this and, hang on a minute, I don't know how far we can go in on the enlargement here. No, it's not going to let me do it. Oh well, it's actually made it smaller, that has. Well, anyway. So this supposed little owl, this pattern is just part of a repeated pattern on the dollar bill, and it's right here, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here, and it's buried underneath some of this stuff as well. So when you fold the 2 little owls across here, which look to me more like moths, you get the top of a line coming across the top of Washington's shoulders, and that forms the dam, and the ruffles of the tie are the water going over the dam, or the dam breaking open. Okay, now there's several other little folds in here, okay, but again, cutting a long story short, these 2 little owls here also give us the T and the A, which again was Donald Trump's rebirth back into the White House. Okay, so when we fold here and bring one side over, it cuts all this middle portion out, and you get a T and an A. Okay, and that gives us Donald Trump's rebirth. If we look on this side of the dollar bill here, look, and count up leaves and berries. Okay, we have 2 here, 2 leaves. Then come down this side, we have 5 leaves, and we have 4 berries. So we have 254. 254th day of the year is 9/11. If we come to the center here now, because we're going to jump over to the numbers that are on this other side of the dollar bill, so we're going to use these leaves and berries that are in the center of the dollar bill here. We've got 1 berry, 5 leaves, and another 5 leaves. If we go 155 days from 9/11, okay, the 254th day of the year, it will take us to the date 213, the 44th day of the year. Okay, 213. Okay, 2 leaves here, 3 leaves, and 1 berry. 213. Okay. Again, this is, I always say this is like the follow the white rabbit idea, because we've got the 2 bunny ears in each corner of the dollar bill here, the white rabbit. Okay, the bunny ears poking up. And there's other stuff in here what I don't want to get into right now, but like this side of the dollar bill encodes Donald Trump's ear wound, and there's several other ways that we can get to Donald Trump's ear wound in this thing. Okay, that needed to be said so that you knew that the 155-day jump is important, and this is encoded. 213 is encoded in connection to 9/11 in the dollar bill via this 155-day jump. Okay, so when we come back to this, we see, okay, from Donald Trump's birthday here, and another idea of a birthday, and do we have a third idea of a birthday? Okay, the destruction of the dam is again another idea of being reborn. Okay, so the 44th day of the year, 3, 2, 1, the final countdown, and this particular date, 213. Okay, well, let's not stop there, because the actual game itself might actually be encoding this date as well. Let me explain why. So we want to go to this. Okay, the halftime score. So at halftime, the Eagles were leading 24-0. Okay, so we've got one significant score set of numbers here, 24-0. Then if we look at the full-time score, we have 22-40. So we have this 24 reference again. Okay, I always say that, I like to fudge it by, if you want to reduce this number here, this 22, the score for the Kansas City Chiefs, if you want to reduce that number, you can do it 2 ways. One is the sort of ace way, which is ace can be 11 or 1. Okay, so if you have a double number, I like to think that if like this 22 could reduce to either a single 2, or you could do it the old-fashioned way, and you could take and add these 2 together to reduce it. So you end up with a 4. So what you end up with here is 44 encoded in the final score, and you also end up with 24 encoded in the final score. And you also have a nice little reference back to Groundhog Day here. And interestingly enough, with that loss for the Chiefs, you got Patrick Mahomes, and their score finishes on St. Patrick's Day numbers. Okay, so that's kind of interesting as well. But let's just take this 24 idea that's encoded in here. Obviously, the 44 is super important for the 44th day of the year, of course. But let's take the 24 that's encoded in here, and let's do some number jumps. So if we go from Donald Trump's birthday, okay, through to 213 this year, so the 2024 date, okay, 224, and then we do an inversion, which is 244 of that number. It's just an inverted version of that number, with the 24 reference here again. So 244 days is what that number jump is, okay, taking us to 213. So that's pretty mental already. If we go from inauguration, okay, it happens to be 24 days on, okay. You just can't write this stuff. 24 days on to 213 from inauguration, okay? So that's pretty fascinating. So I thought, well, I better stick some dam jumps in from the Hoover Dam now. If we go from 9/11, 2024 through, okay, we got this 155. This is what I was showing you in the dollar bill. Okay, so this is, that's that number jump. That's the significance of that, okay? 22 weeks, 1 day, 221, okay? Very important with the idea of that train and the 131 train. And in fact, while I'm just thinking about it now, I will show you the gematria, because all this stuff ties together, with Madonna. Let's look at the synchronicities with Madonna, train, and dollar. Okay, they're very good matches. 62, 62, 62, 26, 26, 26, 37, 37, 37. Okay, very good matches. So this idea of the train and the dollar and Madonna being linked, and then if we look at Donald Trump with $1 bill, okay, the 220 there, yeah, remember the score, 22 to 40, okay, and then the 76, and then again with Donald John Trump, 220, 76. So $1 bill and Donald John Trump, sorry, are matching up. Not to mention, look at the $1 bill here with the 131 here with the train again. In Back to the Future, the 131 train that is destroyed. Yeah, dollar bill destroyed, train destroyed, Madonna destroyed. Okay, Madonna symbolism is damn symbolism. Okay, I wanted to keep this short, so I'm going as fast as I can. So we've done the halftime scores. The fact that it comes through to Donald Trump's birthday, very interesting. Let's get on to the rest of these number jumps. Oh, one other thing. From 9/11, we're 23 years, 155 days. And remember, 155 is in the chart of Lorraine. We put the clock tower in the chart of Lorraine, and 155 is that lightning strike coming down. And if it goes one way, it goes through 9/11. If it comes the other way, it's going to go through 23. Okay, so 23 is vitally important. Not to mention, on that side of that decode with the clock tower in the chart, 53 is the next number on, which is a mirror of 23. So that's, it's super important. Okay, let's look what we got next. We got 9/11, 1936. This is the first power generation at the Hoover Dam. Thank you, Sandra. 88 years, 155 days again, because it's a 9/11 date. But we're 88 years, okay? So this, again, if we just come down and look at the variations here, we got 88, 5-2, so 5 months, 2 days, which is interesting with Marty being late. This is to do with, the 1.21 gigawatts, if you like, the power generation, the spark that they kept saying Kansas City needed a spark in the game. And so this 25 is what the clocks are set off at the start of Back to the Future. So it makes Marty late. Yeah, and 25 is referenced several times at the start of Back to the Future. And of course 88 is obviously referenced. But the 825, very interesting, with the idea of being late. Okay, 3-1, the federal takeover of the Hoover Dam, 1936 through to this particular date. What did I have for this? Oh, let me just backtrack. Let's just click on this. Let me show you something. This is a prime number, 3462. Okay, and if we come to this one, what was interesting as well is, again, it was another prime number, 3486. So I thought that was fairly interesting, have two number jumps that gave us prime numbers, okay? And then the Hoover Dam's actual birthday or dedication, 9/30/1935, which again ties in with the other side of the dollar bill, which was the green side, that comes from 1935, I believe, when they put that on the dollar bill, or had the dollar bill in the incarnation that it is now. Well, kind of like that right now. It was not exactly, but fairly like that. Okay, not doing a very good job at explaining, but this is a date to do with that, when that was changed. Okay, 213 through to 213 again. Nothing very special about this. Okay, nothing popping out crazy like, but I guess it is 19 weeks 3 days with the 193 numbers and the 414 here as well. That's kind of interesting. But what's interesting about this is we're on the 326, okay, and 32,600 basically was a reset point for the Hoover Dam, if you like, because what this means is, because this came to 32,600 days old on New Year's Eve, What it means is that these last 2 digits here are following the day of the year. Okay, so the Hoover Dam right now is in alignment with the calendar. Yeah, through these last 2 numbers, you could almost say, well, this is, forget about this 326 because it's like started over. These 2 numbers started over at 0. So until we get up to 100, this will be counting the day of the year as well. Oh, does that make sense? But anyway, it's on 44, okay? Because we're going to the 44th day of the year here, so 44. Okay, I think I've covered everything. I'm running out of puff. We did all that, we did that, we did that, we did the number jumps there, we did all of these number jumps. Very interesting stuff. One other thing, I haven't had time to check it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that the 2442 or 442 was in 2 of the songs on Back to the Future. And one of them was Time Bomb Town by Lindsey Buckingham, I'm sure. I can't remember what the other one was. But there was this funny synchronicity between 2 of the songs and these numbers. I think it was this number. I'm not 100% sure, but it seems to be ringing a bell for me. Without going and checking, I don't know. And I'm not doing it right now. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will catch you on another video fairly soon. Are we looking at the 44th day of the year here? It's definitely super duper loaded, because this number here, this number is, oh, let me show you this actually. Hang on one second. Let's go to the chart of Lorraine and let me just show you why that number is so important. I want to be on this. So I've got the chart of Lorraine here. Here is that number. This is the start of Lucas numbers. Now recall, where did we have, where's the middle of this table, so to speak, is 11, 18. And you can reduce these 2 numbers 2 different ways. You can reduce them individually. So if I reduce the 18 here, it will become a 9, and then I've got 9, 11, okay? And if I reduce the 11 and leave the 18, I'll reduce that down to a 2 and keep the 18. I've got 218, the discovery of Pluto, numbers that surround Pluto. And look what we have. Individual reductions is 2, 9. If I add these 2 together, okay, it's going to come out at 29. So if I add them, together, it comes out at 29. And individually, they reduce to 29, okay, or 2 and 9. So this is very important with the Super Bowl, because that number is, again, a date that I've looked at before for the idea of something big happening to do with the dam collapsing. And 11/18 is another one of those dates. And I was just telling you about 11/17 in there, yeah, which is also right here, okay? These numbers boom through, okay? So that gets a bit of a mess, but it's important to know that that 29 that we just had with Super Bowl is super duper important, okay? And you put the clock tower in, obviously, let's just scribble it in real quick, okay? And then you can see this 23, because we're 23 years on from 9/11, and when in Back to the Future you do the stylized 55, it's at the top of this thing, and it drops down on the line through 9/11 over to pi. This is why I think we're having so many pi references, okay? And the opposite to this is the number 23, and of course that's also encoded in this number here. Super duper important. Remember, not only is it the 44th day of the year, which occurs right here in a pattern opposite the number 11, okay, but this number 10 here, 321, 123 is the actual Lucas number here, and this is the total up to this point, which is 321. So this 44, this is all super duper important, yeah? This 55, remember, it's a 155 jump from 9/11 through to 2/13, okay? So this is why this date is so hot that's coming up. But, I've talked about it several times before. Is this the year? We don't really know. Is it even going to be that date? We don't really know. So, it's one of those things that's just You know, it's all guesswork, but you kind of have to connect the dots, and then maybe you get lucky with the guesswork. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Just depends on how God wants it to play out, I guess. Okay, I am done. Right, that is it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on another one soon. Cheers. All right. Bye.